All right, let's begin. We're going to start today on the ground, and we're going to rise up, and then we'll come back down to the ground. And we'll do it in a way which accommodates our body. So it'll be almost like a build, and we'll just build up, and then we'll come back down to the ground. So we can start off by laying on the mat. You can stretch your legs out straight all the way, or you can keep the knees bent, however you feel most comfortable. I'm going to keep my knees bent for right now. You can have your knees touch one another and maybe give a little bit of space to the width in between your feet just so that you can spread out a little bit. Take your hands and place them on your belly. And just start to relax. You want to begin to close the eyes. Get comfortable, maybe move the body around a few times. Just a little bit, just to allow for the back to connect to the mat. Relaxing and breathing. And as you have the eyes closed, see if you can bring your concentration to your belly. Notice the way the belly lifts on each inhale and the way it relaxes on each exhale. Just do this about 5 times. No need to force the breath or adjust it. Just stay focused on how your belly is rising and falling. You want to start to prepare for this class in a way where anything else that might be on your mind, you kind of give yourself permission to let go of those thoughts. You want to be able to start to become aware of the present, aware of your body, the mat, the space around you, and most importantly throughout this practice, your breath. And as you inhale, allow the breath to come a little bit further now. Imagine that your breath can make it down your thighs. And on the exhale, the navel touches the spine. All the stale air leaves the body completely. And maybe your next breath, you can go a bit further. In your mind's eye, bring that vision to maybe your feet or your ankles and allow the breath to maybe travel all the way to your feet. And on the exhale, letting go. Now allowing the breath to leave the body all the way up to the crown of the head. Breathing in and breathing out. And take about 3 more breaths, but be very, very intentional about your breath. Nothing to do and nowhere to go but to connect to the body and to the breath cycle. If your legs are bent, you can straighten the legs out. We're going to lift our hands over our head, our arms over our head. Lift up out of the pelvic bowl body. And then at the same time, press your feet towards the other side of the wall, towards the other side. So you're stretching your body. It's like you're being pulled apart. If you want to even bring your thumbs together above your head, you can do so. And then bring the hands by the side. You're going to bring your legs back up so that the knees are bent, the feet are pressed onto the ground. I want you to take your hands and bring them to your sides. It's almost like they're shoulders length apart. So your right hand goes towards your right, your left goes to your left. I just want you to scooch over your right hip so that it scooches over towards the left just a little bit. And both your knees are just going to drop down to the right side. Now you can continue to keep your gaze towards the ceiling above, or you can look over to the left. So your knees are dropped over to the right. Your gaze is either to the ceiling or to the left. And as you're here, we're going to be active in every pose. We want to breathe in deeply. Again, allowing the belly to fill up. And on the exhale, releasing. Maybe even allowing our exhale to leave the body a bit slower. So it takes longer for the exhale to exit the body. Inhaling and filling up. Exhaling and releasing. And do this for about 5 breath cycles and just stay here. But while you're also here, notice any parts of the body that you can adjust to help you ease in and sink into the pose further. Your knees don't have to touch the ground either, so if your legs are up, lifted off the ground a little bit, that's fine. Really just depends on how you feel that day or how flexible you are. No one thing is right over the other. We're going to squeeze the belly and come back to center, lifting up our knees, using the belly to help us lift up those legs and coming back to center. Arms are still spread out at shoulders length. We're going to now scooch our bodies over from the left hip, and that left hip we're going to kind of scooch over towards the right side a little bit. And that's just to prepare us to drop our legs over towards the left side. And once you get your legs there, you can continue to keep the gaze towards the ceiling, or now you can look over towards the right. So legs are dropped over to the left side, and you can look over the right. Again, being very intentional about the pose and active. Make any adjustments. Come back to center, using the belly to help you lift up those legs. And I want you to just kind of go back and forth a few times, to the left and to the right. They don't have to touch, you're just windshield wiping your legs. Breathing in and out each time. Last one. Come back to center. Bring your knees to tabletop position, lifting your feet off the ground. And stay there just for a moment. Your hands are still out to the sides. Breathe in and out. I want you to take the knees and slowly bring them towards the chest. And hug your arms around your knees. And this is our first hug of the day, so if you want, you can kind of roll back and forth and give your spine a nice spinal twist. A spinal massage, sorry. You can also lift forward and back and kind of rock. So whichever way works best for you, you're welcome to go ahead and to just massage your spinal body. Breathe in and out. On the next inhale, I want you to bring your knees a little bit closer to your chest and allow your hands to come completely around the right knee. And then drop the left leg down to the mat. Now you can keep it straight or you can bend it. It's really your choice. For now, you're just going to straighten it out. You're going to try to bring your right knee up towards the inside of your arm. And just lift it up. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowly, you're going to allow the right foot to lift up. Bring your hands behind and interlace the fingers and bring it behind the back of the leg. If you have a wall near you, you can probably eventually, I don't know, if you have a wall near you, you can probably bring that foot up. You would just probably have to bend your left leg to be able to accommodate that. Okay? If you have a strap, you can take a strap and you can wrap it around the top of the foot. But you want to just try to stretch out that right foot and flex the foot so that the bottom of the foot is pressing towards the ceiling. Now the knee can be soft. It doesn't have to be bent too far. It doesn't have to be straight or rigid either. Slowly start to pull back, bringing the thigh towards the belly. Now bend the knee again and bring it back towards the inside of the arms. And gently, slowly, you're going to drop the leg down so that it meets the left. All right, bend your right knee and bend your left knee. Bring your left knee up and bring it towards the inside of your arms on the left side. Now again, same thing goes. If you want to bend the right foot, you can. If you want to keep it straight, you can do that as well. You're going to take your foot and press it up towards the ceiling. Your knee can be soft, your knee can be straight. You just don't want to be rigid. Start to press up so that the foot is flat. It's almost like you're able to press a footprint on the ceiling above. And just breathe in and out. Feel your hamstrings lengthen. Slowly pull the thigh a little bit closer towards the belly. Beautiful. And then bring the knee back in towards the chest. Knees bent. Drop your left foot to meet your right and stretch your arms overhead. Stretching out the body from the toes to the fingertips. We're going to place our feet on the mat. Knees are bent. We're going to come into some bridge poses. I want you to feel the belly, and just for a second, place your hands on the belly before we get started. I want you to tuck your belly down so that your spine is straight on the mat. Belly is tucked down, the navel tucks down. So the way that goes is you just kind of press the sits bone, and also the tailbone a little bit deeper into the mat. It grounds into the mat. And that part of your belly is going to be very active in your bridge. You can feel it contract and expand. So take a few breaths and see if you can just hold it here for a few moments, keeping it really grounded into the mat below. And this is our base. I know it's easy to want to have the back curved when we come up and down in our bridge, but when we come back down, each time we take our backs to the ground and to the mat, we want to make sure that we just do this little tiny tilt and start to breathe in and out in a way that we're not compromising the posture of the bridge pose. bring your hands by your side so that they're here to support you. We're going to be pressing into our hands as we lift up through our hip body. And as you lift up, you'll see how when you kept your back grounded, how that helps in terms of where your body is. Going up, allow the bridge to just be strong. Breathe in and out. Adjust your body as you need to. And then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, bring your back onto the mat. Again, paying extra close attention to tuck that pelvic bowl in. That's that area right down here where we started. To tuck that in and to ground through. Breathe in and breathe out. And the reason why I say breathe in and breathe out, it's easy to want to hold the breath when you're tucking in your belly. It's this urge that for some reason that the belly and holding the breath go together when we do this, but that's not the case. Slowly bring the feet back just a little bit more so that they're coming closer towards your sits bone. Bring the hands back onto the ground and lift back up and come back into a bridge. And breathe in and out. Really press up and press through, trying to stretch out the thighs, the glutes, squeeze the glutes. Allow for the breath to still be fluid. If you want to interlace your fingers and bring them behind you to get an extra lift, you can. You don't have to, but you can. The head stays firmly on the ground. Hands are going to come down. If you had them interlaced, their fingers interlaced, you're going to bring them apart, gently bringing the back down to the mat, tucking the belly in as you lay your back body on the mat. We're going to do 2 more of those. Do your best to keep the pelvis tucked in. Inhale, lift up, come into that bridge, your bridge, however you feel most comfortable. Make sure you're breathing, and exhale, and let go, vertebrae by vertebrae. That's all you got to think about, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down the back body. The sacrum, that back part where the tailbone is, comes down to the mat. There's no gaps. There's no spaces on your back body. Everything is flat. The pelvic bowl is tucked in. Last one. I want you to pay more attention to form. Lift up again. Squeeze in the core, stretching the body. Notice what parts of the body you need to do this pose and what parts you don't. Not everything is necessary. Breathing in and out, vertebrae by vertebrae, come back down. Yeah, there we go. We'll probably close the class with some bridge poses too. But for now, that was good. Keep that tailbone on the ground and lift up your knees and hug yourself. And just roll back and forth. Great, great, great. All right, we're going to take our right foot, and I want you to keep it up towards the chest. On your left, I want you to keep the knee bent so that the foot is on the ground, the knee is bent. And you're going to place your right foot on top of your thigh, on top of your left thigh, okay? So there's going to be a hole in between your legs. I want you to take your left hand, okay? So think about it. Left foot is bent. Left knee is bent. Foot is on the ground on the left side. Left hand goes in between that hole, and it just wraps and grabs the thigh on the right side. The right hand comes on the outside of the body. This knee is lifted. The right foot is on top of the thigh on the left side. Okay? And I just want you to stay here for a moment and breathe. Take your left leg, lift it up. And I want you to position your thigh in a place where you feel most comfortable on this side, okay? So when I say that, that's If you feel like you're not very flexible, I just want you to find where you're most flexible at and just keep your hands are going to be guiding you there. Then take your right hand and weave it in and switch. Bring your left hand to the outside of the left leg. Place the hands, both of them interlaced fingers behind the right thigh. Now that you've positioned your right leg, you know where your temperature is. You know what's most comfortable for you. And I want you to just find that space. You can start to bring, using your fingertips gently, bring the thigh towards the belly. The left thigh towards the belly. And this is our modified half pigeon. It's a gentle way to get into half pigeon if you have very, very tight hips. Place your foot back down on the ground on the left side. Unwind your right foot and bring it down to the mat. All right, we're going to stretch out our bodies. Come back up so we can do the other side. All right, we're going to take our left knee now. We're going to bend that left knee up towards the chest. Place the left foot onto the right thigh. We're going to take our right hand, all right, and we're going to place it on the outside. Take our left hand. We're going to place it on the outside of that left leg. The right hand is going to go underneath. And we're just going to pull back on our leg. At the same time, we're going to lift up our right foot. All right, so find that temperature. You're just figuring out where your temperature is. Then you're going to take your hands and you're going to reverse them. Your right hand is going to come to the outside of your leg, and then you're going to bring your hands behind the thigh. And we're doing the same thing like we did on the other side. Just breathe in and out. Gently place the foot back down. Stretch out the legs, both your right and your left. Stretch out your hands. All right. We're going to take our legs and roll them over towards the right side and then push ourselves up and come into a seating position. Okay. And cross your legs. As you're coming up, take your time. And just start to breathe in and breathe out. And gather yourself. We're going to bring the chin towards the chest. And just let the weight of the head sit there. Chin supports you. The back body supports you. Your breath supports you. And then we're going to roll our right ear towards our right side. And just breathe in and breathe out. And take about 4 breaths. Full breath cycles. Take the chin, tuck it back into the mid-chest. And then bring your left ear to your left shoulder. Take about 4 breath cycles here as well. Chin back to center chest. right ear to the right shoulder. I want you to take your right hand and just kind of walk it over towards the right side. Walk the fingertips back, chin to the chest in the center. Take the left ear to the left shoulder, and then walk the fingertips over towards the left side, giving yourself more of an extension on your right. Come back, fingertips walk back to center, chin to the chest, and then I'll go in for a few head rolls from the left to the right. And come back to center. Beautiful. We're going to roll the shoulders up and back. Do it about 4 times. Going back. And then 4 times going forward. Beautiful. We're going to extend the arms out. Extend the fingertips out. And breathe in. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe out. Sit up a little bit taller in your belly. Hands flip up towards the sky. Lift them up. Reach them up overhead. Interlace the fingers. Press the palms up towards the ceiling. And lean to your left. Keep your right sits bone grounded into the mat. And then pivot up. Look up towards the ceiling. Come back to center. And we're going to lean to the right. Pivot up. Pivoting back on that left shoulder, looking up towards the ceiling. Making sure that our sits bone is grounded into the mat. Come back to center. And the arms come down. And bring your hands behind you. Interlace the fingers. Roll the shoulders away from the ear. And stretch out those arms behind you. And then undo the arms. Great, great, great. We're going to come into a bound pose, a bound eagle pose. So take your hands out, extend them out to the full length. Imagine that your fingertips can touch each side of the mat. And you're going to take your right hand, so wiggle your right fingertips. Bring your right arm down in front of you. Take your left and go underneath the right. And if you can come in for a bound pose, come in for a bound pose. Do your best. If you can't, you can come into a modified pose and just hold yourself, hugging it's almost like a big hug for yourself, hugging your arms around your upper body. But if you can come into the bound pose, that's the best. And just stay there for a few moments. Feel the stretch in the mid-back body. Breathing through any sensations or tensions. Arms extend out. And I just want you to undo that by doing a few butterfly motions with your arms. And then bring your hands down by your side. Breathe for a moment. And we're going to come to do the other side. Arms extend back out once again. This time take your left fingertips and bring it out in front of you. Take your right and go underneath the arm and come into your bound pose. And just sit here for a few moments, continuing to adjust the body, being very, filling yourself with a lot of intention as you keep your body lifted. Continue the same practice of your pelvic bowl kind of being tucked in so that you have a nice straight spine. No hunchback. And breathe through the mid-back body. And then undo the arms and just kind of wave it out again. Awesome. We're going to take our feet, extend them out in front of us. Hands come behind us, hold us up. Stretch out the legs. You can soften the knees if you like. Okay, so if you want to have the knees soft a little bit, you can. All right. So we're going to bring up our right foot so that our right foot is down on the ground and our knee is bent. All right. And then we're going to take our right foot and we're going to cross it on top and over the left leg. Now you can stay just like this, wrapping your fingertips around the knee, or you can lean forward a little bit and just hold the pose. Should be a mild to moderate sensation. Gently come back up. Okay, unwind the leg. Bring the right foot back down to meet the left. Bring your hands behind you and just press your chest up. Fingertips grounded into the mat. Chest is up. And then we're going to take our left leg. We're going to bend the knee. Feet into our left foot is on the ground. We're going to take the leg over, cross it over just like we did with the right. And then we can wrap our fingertips around the leg and just press down. Only go to the place of mild to moderate sensation. You're going to really feel the lengthening on the hamstring. Breathe in and out. Gently come back up, belly, chest, and then head. Undo the legs. Just bring the hands behind you, and this time just flop the legs up and down a few times. Beautiful. Soften the knees. I love the knees being soft. You can drop them down when you're ready, but just start off with softening the knees. Lift the arms up overhead. Press the belly. Okay, so we're doing a lot of stuff with proper form today. So press the belly towards the thighs and then drop the hands. You want to, if you can touch the toes, great, but you want to go in that direction. You don't have to touch the toes. Now my knees are still soft. They're still bent a little bit. Okay, actually I have a significant amount of space between the back of my leg and the mat. I'm going to start to lower that down, but I'm going to use my breath, and I want you to use your breath too. As you start to just ease into the pose, you'll find that it becomes easier and easier to drop the legs down gradually. Now, if they don't make it down, that's fine. This is the first seated forward fold of the class. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to. What I want you to do is focus on bringing the belly closer towards the thighs, lifting up away from the rib cage, lifting your, and I always say pelvic bowl area. That's that area where your hips are that holds your abdomen. It's like you sit inside. You're gonna lift up out of that. And then you press a little bit closer with your belly towards your thighs. You can drop the chin to the chest. And then you can see how that changes. And it takes a little bit more time to ease into your forward fold. But the benefits increase. The stretch, the belly, and your safety. Gently, we're going to come back up. Belly first, chest, and then head. Arms reach up overhead. Bring them behind us. Take the heart, allow it to shine up towards the sky. Imagine there's a sky there and there's a sun and it's beating down on your heart. Allow your chin to come up, stretch out even more on those legs and breathe. All right, beautiful. All right, we're gonna take our right knee, we're gonna bend it. All right, take our left foot and bring it underneath that hole from when we bend the knee. So underneath that triangle, and the left foot is going to come by the right hip. All right. So goal is to try to hook the leg over if you can, or hook the foot over. If you can't do that, it's okay if you keep your right foot right where it is. You don't have to move it. Okay. Now, as I said, the goal is to get it over. And what you want to do is once you get it over, you want to kind of just hug the arms around the leg. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, we're going to begin to twist our upper body going over towards the right. So take your left arm and hug it a little bit more around the top of the right knee. Bring your right hand behind you, okay, to hold you up. So it's a nice little spinal twist. And you can take your gaze and just look over your right shoulder. Maybe even smile. And just breathe through the full length of the body, from the crown of the head down to the feet. Imagine the way ocean waters move. Allow your breath to match that in a way. Like the waves coming towards you. It's like your inhale, and the exhale are the waves leaving. See if you can allow that breath to just be fluid. I know we can get caught up on things in this twist. Breathe in and out. And gently you're going to come back to center. Okay. You're going to come back to center, and if you can, come into hero's pose, where you drop your knee completely on top. All right. And so that was preparing us. So you drop your knee completely on top. If you can't do that, stay right where you are. Okay. With your knee lifted up. That's fine. We're going to take our hands. We're going to lift them up overhead, and we're going to just start to walk them forward. So right now my knee is lifted up, just like it was when we did the twist. I'm going to drop it down, but you don't have to. Okay? If you can bring your chin to your knee, that's the goal. Okay? If you want to bring your foot back out and you feel like you just don't have the flexibility, you can do that by just bringing your hands in front of you and chin to the knee. All right, so that's a modification. Anything we're doing can have a modification. I don't want you to get intimidated. Okay? Chin to the knee. Hands go as forward as they can, and that's going to vary based on what you're doing and how you're modifying. And just breathe through all the way down into the tips of the toes. And on the exhale, breathe out through the nose. Gently bring the hands back up, walking the hands back. We're going to unwind the body. Before we go on to the other side, bring your hands behind you, and I just want you to windshield wipe your legs back and forth. There we go. All right. Okay. So, send the legs back out. Stretch them back out once again. We're going to bring the hands up overhead, come into a forward fold, bringing the belly towards the thighs. Come back up. Bend the knees. Okay? We're going to take our right foot this time, and we're going to bring our right foot by the left sits bone. All right, so if we're starting here, and this is our modification because we don't feel like we can bring or hook over the leg, that's fine. We're going to hug our arms around this, okay? Now, if you can bring it over, you're going to do it on the other side. Everything that you did on the one side, you can do on the other to the best of your ability. And I always like to just prepare us. So hug both your hands around the leg. This helps you to kind of test the temperature, sit up a little bit taller. And then gently we're going to go a little bit deeper with our right arm, and it's going to hug, wrapping around the left leg. The left hand is going to come behind us. You're going to look over your left shoulder this time. And try to focus more on the breath work. Keep the alignment as straight as you can. Tuck in the belly. Sit up a little bit taller. Gaze is behind you. Again, just like those ocean waves, the inhale and the exhale, the pull and the push. All right. We're going to unwind, and we're going to drop our legs back down now. We're going to bring the top of our left knee on top of the right. Again, come into your modified pose as you need to. We're going to start to walk our hands forward and drop the chin onto the knee. Keep breathing. Remember, wherever you are, you have about 3 different modifications for this pose. Wherever you are in the twist, that's probably your best place to try to do this pose in. This is why we're building. We're building each pose from our last pose, so to speak. Couple more breaths. Gently belly, chest, and then head. Unwind the legs. Stretch the legs out. All right, we're going to do another forward fold, and then we're going to shift. Okay, come back up. And take your knees, bring them down to the mat. Come into a tabletop pose. Place your hands about shoulders length apart. You want to make sure that your shoulders are stacked on top of your elbows and on top of your wrists. Knees are about hips width apart. Breathe in and breathe out. I want you to just take your gaze and look over your right shoulder. And then take your right hip and look over to your right hip. And you're almost just making this curve and you're looking over towards the right side. And then we're going to come over to the left and look over to the left, to the right, and then to the left. Okay. And we're going to come into some head rolls. We'll start to just roll the head around a few times. Notice how this is a little bit different than when we were sitting. I want you to then also roll your hips. Roll your arms. Then reverse and do the other side. It's okay to open up your legs a little bit and just kind of roll. Take your time. Come back to center. We're going to sit our hips down towards our heels and bring our forehead down to the mat. Child's pose. First child's pose of the class. Relax and breathe. If you want to keep your knees apart, you can. Or if you want to bring them together, you can. It's your choice. Gently, we're going to come back up. Come back into our tabletop position. I want you to tuck your toes under. Press your back body like it's arching towards the ceiling. Drop your chin to your chest. Cat pose. And just take a few breaths in this pose. You can see what it feels like. Notice what you can do to adjust it. Tuck in your belly just a little bit more, pressing through. And it's almost like you're grounding through your hips down into your thighs. And then reverse. And the way we reverse is we let our belly now come towards the mat. The back of the head goes up towards the back body. It's like our gaze is up in the air. It's almost like a little tiny slope from our hips down into the mid part of our back. And then just breathe. Again, noticing what it feels like to be here in this pose. This is our cow, portion of the cat-cow. And then reverse, cat, and then cow. Inhaling and exhaling. Two more. And one more. We're going to come back into a child's pose because we want to give our wrists an opportunity to relax for a few moments. Maybe even rotate them a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out, helping to loosen. Slowly start to come back up into that tabletop position. We're going to take our left foot behind us and bring our right hand out in front of us. And just stretch out the body. Imagine that as you press your belly down, you're pressing more into your thigh, and from your thigh into your knee into your ankle into your foot, and at the same time, your shoulders doing the opposite, and is pressing forward, but it's pressing into your elbow, into your wrist, into your fingertips. And lift up off the mat. Squeeze the core. Be as active and alive in this pose as possible. And come back to center. All right. So this time, the right foot goes out, the left hand comes forward. We're going to do the same thing. Breathing in and out. Just do the opposite side. Be active, completely active inside the pose. And then hands come back. And shake it out to the left and to the right. All right, we're going to tuck the toes under, hover the knees right on top of the mat. Start to press the belly towards the thighs. Press the hands even into the mat more. It's almost like your mat is ready to rip in half in two. And then slowly start to lift up and come into your first downward facing dog. You can walk it out, stepping your heels up and down. Breathe in and out. Pressing the belly towards the thighs. And that's the big trick on this. You want to press the belly towards the thighs. You want to align the arms so that it supports that. And then it gives you the ability to press back just a little bit more so you can stretch out those hamstrings. Inhaling and exhaling. Slowly take your feet and start to walk them up towards your hands. Walk your hands back towards your feet and come into a forward fold. Now, if you have a block, you can have your hands on top of the block. If you don't have any block, that's fine. You can take your fingertips and press them towards the mat. Or you can leave them on your legs. You can reach for opposite elbows behind your legs or in front. So it's your choice. Slowly soften the knees just a little bit and start to come up, vertebrae by vertebrae. All the way up into a mountain pose, coming to a standing position, belly, chest, and then head. You can have your hands flipped out in front of you. Breathe in and out. Bring the arms up overhead and then open up the legs. Bring the hands back down by the side. Stretching out the thighs. And just kind of lean to the left and to the right. We're going to take our right foot. We're going to point it over towards the wall. Bend the knee just a little bit. Okay, the back foot is at a 45-degree angle. It's helping to keep us propped up. All right. Arms come up overhead into warrior one. Then open up into warrior two. Continue to look over the fingertips. We're actually going to come into side angle, so bring your arm, your right arm, onto top of the right thigh. Left hand goes up into the sky and look up towards the left hand. Left hand comes behind you, lifts you back up into warrior two. From warrior two, take the hand, sky flip the hand, lift it up, reverse warrior. Sit a little bit lower in your thigh if it's in your practice. If you want to grab for the back of your shirt or go for a bind, you're welcome to do that. You don't have to though. You can keep your hand right on the back of the thigh. Come back. Warrior two. Warrior one. Straighten out the legs. Come back into that nice stretch from the thigh. It's like a triangle. You're going to take your left foot, go towards the left wall. Your right foot behind you. 45-degree angle. Arms reach up overhead, sit a little bit lower, come into that lunge position. Warrior one. Make sure that you can see your knee and make sure you can see your toes. Your knee should be stacked right on top of your ankles, so you shouldn't be leaning forward or you shouldn't be back. You want to have that knee right on top of that ankle. Open up into warrior two. Prepare yourself to come into side angle, bringing the left arm on top of the thigh. Right hand goes up. Keep the belly active and strong. We're not hunching down. We're using that core, that same place that we used when we first started class in our bridge pose. You want to keep that tucked in. Squeeze the core. Nice alignment. Come back into warrior two. Sky flip the hand. Lean forward, then reverse back to reverse warrior. Your hand finds a home. Unwind the hands. Come back into warrior one. Warrior two, warrior one. Come back to center. All right. Gently, we're going to come down and we're going to start to squat and then bring our elbows to the inside of our legs. All right. You want to, it's almost like a frog pose. You want to squeeze the back of the knees. You want to squeeze the inside of the knees against the elbows. Just stay there for a few moments. Now, if you need to get into this pose in a different way by coming down to the mat first and then getting into it, that's fine. But if you can hold the squat coming down, then that's even better. And 2 more breaths. Okay, lean forward. All right, come. You want to come down to the mat, however you get there. Lay your belly down on the mat. Bring your hands up so you can come into cobra pose. Stretch out the legs behind you. Ground through your hips. Kind of bring in your thighs so that they tilt inwards and lift up. Cobra pose. Gently lower the chest back down to the mat and bring the hands behind you. And just for a few moments, feel your breath press against the mat. We're going to do another cobra. Bring your hands again onto the mat, shoulders by the sides. And this time, maybe even come up a little bit higher from where you were last time. Pressing the hips down into the mat. You can bring your arms straight, great. If not, just continue to keep the elbows down on the ground. You got to do what works best for you. And gently head back down on the ground. We're going to actually bring our hands up and press ourselves over and come to a lying down position for class. We're going to just start to breathe in and breathe out. If you like, you can do any last minute poses. You can just continue to be in Savasana. I'm going to offer a shoulder stand. Your choice if you like to do it. If you cannot do it, just stay in Savasana. You can tabletop the legs and then lift up with your belly, pressing your legs up, pressing your belly up. The more you do that, the more you can get your hands on your back body like you're placing them in your pants pockets until you're coming close to a shoulder stand. Now, this is a work in progress. This is a lifelong pose. Some people think it's not, but it really is. So just be kind and gentle with yourself wherever you are. And then gently, vertebrae by vertebrae, you can begin to lower the back onto the mat. Again, paying extra attention to really tuck in the pelvic bowl area. And as you lay the feet down on the ground, you can keep them straight or you can keep them bent. Personal preference. Relax and breathe as you come into Savasana. Congratulate yourself on a job well done because you didn't have to come to class today, but you did. Thank you. Relax the full body. Greet your body with friendliness and love and care as you continue to breathe.